Hi, I'm Linus at Performance Bike, and today we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about proper fueling. The purpose of fueling is pretty straightforward. It's to give your muscles the fuel that they need to keep going, and it's important to do before and during your ride. Products that are useful for fueling come in a couple different forms. They can be a gel, a chew, an energy bar, or a sports drink, but what they're all going to have in common is that they're a rich source of carbohydrates. Let's start with the fueling that you should do before your ride even starts, and also how to make sure that your natural energy stores are topped off before you start riding. In the simplest terms, your muscles run on a fuel source called glucose, which is a simple sugar, and your body has ways of naturally storing glucose so that it can make it readily available when you start to ride. When glucose is stored in the muscles, it's stored in a form called glycogen. Think about glucose as a very tiny sugar molecule, and glycogen as a large clump of glucose that the body can break down very quickly so that it can get to energy as quickly as possible. Your glycogen stores are the first place your muscles will go to get the glucose that they need to produce energy. So making sure that your glycogen stores are topped off before you start riding will mean you'll have more energy available once your ride starts. You should try to eat about 200 to 400 calories of a high carbohydrate food about 2 to 3 hours before the start of your ride. This will give your body enough time to take the carbohydrates that you're eating, break them down into glucose, and then in turn store that glucose as glycogen. Next, let's look at the fueling that you should be doing while you're riding your bike. About an hour into your ride, your body will start to deplete its natural glycogen stores, and your muscles will start to look elsewhere for a source of glucose to maintain their energy output. Carbohydrate intake from the beginning of the ride is important to build your body's natural levels of glucose in the blood, which is where your muscles will start to draw this glucose from as their glycogen stores deplete. For a rider about 160 to 170 pounds, it's important to get about 50 to 60 grams of carbohydrate along with 20 to 24 ounces of water per hour. This works out to eating about 2 energy gels and a bottle of water, or about 1 energy gel and a bottle with a sports drink mixed at a normal concentration every hour. Doing this will help raise the levels of glucose in the blood and postpone the depletion of glycogen, allowing you to just keep riding your bike longer and harder. Remember that everybody is a little bit different, but this is going to be a good baseline to start from. It's also worth pointing out that from a calorie standpoint, you might not be consuming the same number of calories that you're burning as you ride, but that's okay. Your body's always going to be able to burn calories faster than it can absorb them. The goal here is to make sure that you're giving your body nutrients that it can actually use. Trying to replace all of the calories that you're burning is going to create a concentration in your stomach that's just going to be way too much for your body to handle, and it will lead to GI problems and potentially painful bloating. One final thing to consider is that for rides lasting longer than 3 hours, it's also important to get some of your calories from protein. You want to get about 10 to 15%. For more on what to do after you finish riding, check out our video on recovery.